Alright guys, in this video I'm going to be showing you how to shiny hunt in Cobblemon. Now, there are three different methods, primarily two bigger ones, but there are going to be three different methods that I'm going to be showing in this video. The first two are going to be in the vanilla Cobblemon 1.6 record catch update. So if you're not updated to 1.6, I highly recommend doing so. Also, the third and final method in this video is going to be an add-on, and we'll talk about that in a little later. So if you're not into adding add-ons to your Cobblemon experience, stick with the first two, but you will get a lot more out of adding the add-ons. So the first one here is pretty much just going to be walking around and looking for them. I know, not really what you want to hear, but in base Cobblemon, there's really not that many ways to find shiny Pokemon. The default odds are 1 in, I believe, 8,196. So whenever a Pokemon spawns, it has a 1 out of 8,196 chance to be a shiny Pokemon. And the nice thing about the record catch update is you now have a shiny Sparkle, and there will also be a jingle that plays from, I believe it's the Legends Arceus game. So you'll know. But I also recommend having a mod map, so if you have something like Zero's map and minimap, I would recommend getting those. Now, by default, it will only show the dot, a yellow dot, and then the name of the Pokemon. So there is a resource pack that I recommend getting, and it is right here. E19 Cobblemon minimap icon. So this is a pack that you can find on CurseForge. It's pretty easy to add. You just add it to your pack, and it will turn all of your icons on your minimap into the Pokemon that they are. And then, of course, within the map and minimap settings, you can customize whether you want the names to be displayed or not. The Pokemon will have their shiny icons, so if I go ahead and throw out my shiny Primal Groudon, okay, well, he's not in here, apparently. It doesn't support every Pokemon, but it does support at least all of the base Pokemon in Cobblemon. So if there's any Pokemon you have that are normally unobtainable, but you have obtainable with add-ons, this resource pack doesn't necessarily work with it. So let me go ahead and spawn Pokemon. Let's do Pikachu, shiny. Boom, so you can see right there, that is a shiny Pikachu, and on the map it will have the shiny color. It will also have a little purple sparkle for ones like Pikachu that are a little harder to distinguish. So that's going to be the first way of adding it. And there are also ways to go into the config settings and change the settings for how often shiny Pokemon spawn. I would recommend checking out another video on how to do that. But there are ways to do that if that's something you want to do. So the second way is just going to be, also I recommend, if you're going to do the first option of just running around and looking for them, I would recommend doing something else, watching a YouTube video, or like EV training your Pokemon or something, just so you're not bored out of your mind. Now moving on to the second one, it's actually going to be fishing, which is a more recent addition in the record catch update, of course. So the first thing you're going to want is a Pokerod, and to make a Pokerod you need a smithing table, and within the smithing table you need to put a fishing rod, a smithing template upgrade for Pokerod upgrade, which can be found, I believe, in shipwrecks, ocean monuments, and then the Cobblemon mod also adds a new type of structure. I forget what it's called, but it's a new ocean structure. You'll get a map if you find one in a ruined shipwreck. You'll find these there, and then you'll need to put any Pokeball, and depending on the Pokeball you pick will change the actual design of the Pokerod, but it is purely cosmetic. They all function the same. So a Pokerod will pretty much allow you to just fish Pokemon. So instead of fishing a Minecraft item, when you get a catch, it will be a Pokemon and you will go into battle with it. Now the rate for catching Pokemon while fishing is, hello Grimer, the rate for catching Pokemon while fishing is still 1 in 8,196. However, you can also attach berries because they gave berries bait in this update. So if we go ahead and hold shift, we can see that the bait for the Starf berry or the fishing bait effect for the Star Fairy is a 100% chance to double the shiny chance. So every time you will get a double shiny chance, which pretty much brings your odds down to 1 in 4,096 by default by just fishing with the Star Fairy. Now this can be boring. However, you can also EV train while doing this by killing the Pokemon you fish up that aren't shiny. And to put it on, I believe you just oh god, how do you do it? There you go, you right click. So take your berries, right click them on your rod, and now I have 64 Star Fairies. You can see that I have 64. And whenever I fish up a Pokemon, it will consume a Star Fairy and I will have that double shiny chance. Now, if you want to see how to obtain the Star Fairies, I would recommend going and checking out my berry video because it is pretty complicated. Star Fairy is actually one of the harder ones that you get along the berry tree. So check out that video, and I will tell you in that video how to do all of the berry tree stuff. So I recommend checking that out for the Star Fairy. And that's pretty much going to be the second option. So I know, doesn't look too good for default Pokemon. I mean, you got running around and you got fishing, which is still not very good. However, there is a mod, a add-on called Unchained, or Cobblemon Unchained. I highly recommend getting this mod, and the reason for that is it basically adds chaining into Cobblemon. So if I run over here, check out this Electrike, it's like, alright, I want to kill him. I want to shiny hunt Electrike. So I find an Electrike, kill him, just like that. Now you can kill or catch, it doesn't matter. But once you knock it out, it'll say knocked out an Electrike, count 1, streak 1. So this mod adds chaining to this game. However, it works a little bit differently than it does normally. So in normal Pokemon, your shiny odds go up for a lot lower. In this game, it does. In Cobblemon, it takes a lot more to up your shiny chance, unfortunately. However, you can either catch or kill the Pokemon that you want to find. So once you get a chain up to 100, so you either catch or kill 100 of a Pokemon, your odds will bump up to 2 rolls in 2 out of 8,196, or basically 1 in 4,096. And then once you have a streak of 300 or more, that's going to go up to 3 rolls, and then 500 or more will go up to 4 rolls, and it doesn't go higher than that. So once you hit a streak of 500 or more, or a chain of 500 or more, then you're going to have a 4 out of 8,196 chance. So whatever 8,196 is divided by 4, it's going to be your chance for when that Pokemon spawns. And once you hit that 500 mark, you can just run around. You don't really have to do anything else, just run around until one spawns. So yeah, again, not a very quick method, but definitely out of the 3, the best method, especially if you're in an area that spawns a lot of the specific Pokemon you want. So definitely go on the wiki, find the Pokemon you want to shiny hunt, and see where it spawns, because you're not going to find every Pokemon in every biome, of course. See where it spawns, build a little base camp there, and shiny hunt it with the chaining method. Now, I do this on a server I'm on, and when I do the chaining, it typically, for Pokemon that spawn more commonly, to get up to the chain of 500, it does take a few hours, like 3 to 4 hours. But there have been times where I've, of course, gotten the shiny well before I've gotten to the 500 chain. So don't always count on getting to the 500 chain. You could get it pretty quick. But again, worst case scenario, when you get to a 500 chain, it's like 3 to 4 hours to get to that chain, and then it's just running around. However, when you're doing it, you want to be careful and make sure that you don't break the chain. And breaking the chain would be either killing another Pokemon, catching another Pokemon, but I don't believe running into one and then running away from it will break the chain. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't break the chain that way. But yeah, that's going to be it for how to shiny hunt in Cobblemon. I know there's really not that many options. Hopefully they start to add more shiny hunting options soon, like once the next update comes out, or whenever they finish adding all of the Pokemon to Cobblemon, we will get a shiny charm item for completing the Pokedex in some way. That would definitely help out, especially with the chain mod. But yeah, those are your 3 options. Just running around, fishing, or using the chain mod. And again, I definitely recommend getting the resource pack on CurseForge so you can use it with the map to see what's going on instead of just having to look with your eyes, it makes things way easier. So yeah, again, that's going to be it for the video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.